Yo, what's going on, guys? I do want to do a quick update on DOCU or DocuSign. So basically, this is a stock I actually talked about in a video. I don't know if it was a month back or a few weeks back. So, this chart to me looks just absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, right now with the sentiment of the market, a lot of things could go south here. So, normally when you play chart patterns, unless you're buying long term, you would wait for confirmation of a breakout up in that range here. And I don't know what's good with this new fucking thing that keeps on popping up because it's getting very fucking annoying. Yeah, every time I fucking... Weird. But anyway, sorry. So, obviously, if you were going to play this, you would want to enter somewhere up in this range here, right? It's 276.60, an hourly close up here. Wait for the next candle to open. If it continues to hold there, volume rolls in, then you would enter and you would play the breakout of this. So this being a bull flag here, or what looks like a bull flag, or what I'm wondering, which is the only thing that scares me, is if it's some type of rising channel here instead. So I'm going to look at both sides of the spectrum here. So if it's a rising channel and it was to break down here and the rest of the market obviously has been correcting, you would be looking at a target of $170, which to me would be pretty fucking phenomenal buying zone, of course, but that doesn't mean that it has to bounce there and come right back up. So basically what I've been doing, and this is just me, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I originally had a plan to do so. Somebody that told me about this thing when it was up in this range here, and they were telling me about it, and I looked at the chart and I went, holy shit, like this thing just looks beautiful with this amazing run up and this and that, right? So I was looking at the chart and I was like, right around here, I was like, this kind of looks like a potential head and shoulders pattern, though. This was the left shoulder, this was the head, and this could have been the right shoulder. And we did get a wick up here, and we got resistance on the same trend line that we've kind of been getting resistance on this whole time. So I was talking about it in my other video that if it was to break here, I would enter, and if there's confirmation, and I would long it up to the target. But as of right now, I was a little nervous because we were looking like we were creating, I believe it was some bearish divergence, and we actually canceled out that bearish divergence right around here because originally we were right here, and the price was higher on the right than the left. But or whatever, but we did kind of do exactly what I was wondering if we were going to do, which is turn this into a potential head and shoulders pattern. Now, of course, usually a head and shoulders pattern is a trend reversal, so that's where it gets a little bit more worrisome. But we've came down in this flag pattern that we've been in, or rising channel here. We've came down here quite a bit. So originally the breakdown target, what I was expecting was somewhere around 230, but I expected maybe we would wick to this 228, 225 level. And if we did some fib levels off of, I don't remember if it was from the swing high of this or if it was from the dip. So let me just do this real quick because it was probably from like the dip. But if we went from this low to this high here. Yeah, that wasn't what I did. I think I was just doing a small fib from this wick to this peak, but let me check. Because we did have some. Let me check this real quick. Or maybe it was this bigger. Oh, it's this upper peak, right? Was this upper peak here? Yeah, so this upper peak. So I was doing this and trying to see oh yeah, so the 0.618 was at 225.30. So I did originally buy off of there, and you can see a couple times we either, tested this green line here, or we bounced off of this 0.618 throughout throughout its life. We got rejected there a couple times, rejected. So to me, that roughly 225, 226 area was pretty good support and resistance. So, what I did, maybe not the smartest idea, not sure just yet, but I did put some buys on this trend line here. Now, the first couple times we came down, looked down here, and I ended up with an average at that 225 because I did buy the 0.618 when we did come up, retested it, and we bounced. And, because of the sentiment and everything, I decided to sell it when it bounced back up. And I think actually the first day it went up to like 245-ish. So I ended up selling it somewhere around here, 243-ish. And I waited a little bit, and it came back down, and then I re-put my buys here. And actually today I think I got it at 219.50 or so, or something like that, or right around like 219 something or 220. So, am I doing this for a quick swing, or am I doing this for a potential long? I don't know yet, because I have some concerns of this trend, but at the same time, I would like to continue to be bullish on it. But obviously, the trend is your friend until the end is what they say. So, the end to me would be if we were to break below this 217 area here. But you can also see in the past we have wicked below and then got bought back up and continued on our way here. So, this happens a lot with this thing. When it runs up, it gets rejected up here, and it has many, many, many days of red, and then it finds a bottom, W's, goes up, comes back on, has many, many, many days of red, and continue. And you can kind of see that this has sort of been a normal thing. So you can see here that even at this point, this was my next thing I'm kind of looking into for my own self here, is that we had this death cross here. But luckily, we ran up and we broke right through it as it had this death cross here. And then here, it was coming down. We started running up. We had this cross and we broke through it, caught support, had a few moments there. So where we are now is we ran down. Now, of course, there's no real signs of a bottom just yet. But I do like that we've been using this as support as we have in the past. And, you can kind of see it's not 100% clear. So I'm not too worried just yet. And even with this pointing down the way it is, this EMA here, we do have quite a few more days before that actually was going to cross negative. So I'm trying to pay close attention to it because I don't want that to be a death cross that actually pushes us down, and I don't want this thing to break down here. But if the whole market's going to continue to correct here, then of course it's possible that it could happen. So you can also see here on the RSI that, we had this M that turned into potential W, that turned into a fake out, that turned into a drop here in the RSI. And we're coming down here, getting pretty low, and it's no signs of bouncing on the daily just yet. But if we look at like the 4-hourly here, you can see that we did get a small bounce here. We've gotten a bounce in the past. We got rejected, came back, or recently rather, when we came up to about 245 here. Same here. We've kind of had the similar thing. We ran up, but we didn't come back down as far, where this, when we got rejected, came down pretty far. And, in the past, we've came up and just had these small little pullbacks here. And then this was the only other time that we actually came up, got rejected, tried to do that same style thing. Then we had a big wick, and then we came down. And I think that was around the time when we potentially broke this trend, and we actually maintained here. And we did have pretty massive sell volume as well right there. And where we are now, we just got this massive sell spike here, but not as much selling going on just yet. And I believe that as of right now, we do have bullish divergence on the 4-hourly. which maybe, no, not quite, because it is lower on the right there, and it's lower on the right. So no bullish divergence, and you can see that these moving averages are coming down to potentially cross negative here on the 4 hour. So, this is why, like I said, this isn't something that might be the best play or not just yet. Sometimes it's better to wait for this confirmation here. But in the past, we've had on this 4 hours these crosses, but we ran up before we even got the cross and we found support. So hopefully with this thing, we can actually get up here a little higher, somewhere up in this range before we get this cross, or if we do get a cross, we don't get affected by it. And you can see here on the hourly, though, we did get bullish divergence here, which caused a nice little pump here. You can see we're higher on the right on the RSI, lower on the left. And then in the price action, we're way up here on the left and lower on the right. So we got opposite there, which is bullish divergence. So because of that, we've ran up here a little bit. We did get a nice volume spike there. And this nice little bottoming candle, another nice little bottoming candle, and then a couple spinning tops here, people not sure what to do. And then what looks like potentially another bottoming candle. We got rejected right at this green line I've had in here where we got rejected prior. And then, I'm kind of waiting to see, and I didn't take out the Ichimoku cloud, I didn't take out the TD9 flash here. So we did get a green TD9 flash. That's on the hourly, 233. So, it's kind of tough to see what the hell is going to go on here because obviously, we don't really have bearish divergence yet. So that's a good thing. But obviously, you've seen that we have been kind of running up, then falling, running up, then falling. So are we going to run up and then fall, or are we going to actually come up now? Obviously, this is rolling a little bit. We just had a MACD cross on the hourly here. This is all short-term stuff, so needless to say, this might not even matter to anyone if they're in it, but it just looks, this is for me mainly, and I'm just kind of talking about what we get going on here. So you can see that over here, we tried to catch support here on this red Ichimoku cloud support line, and when we broke it, we had a pretty good dump, and we came back up and got rejected by it. So it's possible we could actually come back up and try to see if we're going to be able to get above this or not. And that could be exactly where we're heading. And I'm wondering if this red here, this 240, 239, is going to equal out to be this green line here on this RSI. I'll be curious to know. But, I mean, obviously we got a little bounce, but it doesn't have to stay on the 4 hour. It's going to take a little bit. Depends on what the market does on Monday, of course. And we don't have bullish divergence there. And there's no real sign of this thing rolling up yet. So, it's a tricky one right here because, the thing is I was very, very bullish on this thing, and I still am. Obviously, I entered. And usually, like I said, you don't normally enter these type of patterns, in any type of pattern when you're swing trading or day trading or anything. I mean, of course, you can swing these moves, but normally when you're doing plays, you don't actually enter these positions until you get a confirmation of a breakout. And then you would enter there, and your risk is a lot less versus trying to buy here at this support. And, obviously you got to put a stop loss below. And if it wicks down below like it did here, stops you out, then heads back up, all this type of things can happen. Or you can get stopped out and then it can continue down, but at least you saved yourself some money. So, that's the downside target, roughly 270. So that's just something to keep in mind. 170, I'm sorry. 170. And then obviously you could bounce at 184 roughly. 185.25 just because we had this wick there that might be of confluence, as well as this resistance at 180 here. So, 180 to 170 is kind of an area to look out for. And then, this being a bull flag, we could actually run an actual pull here, but that to me would be an absolute beast of a fucking move. So for me, I don't think that we would want to do this, but I'm going to do it just for shits and giggles. So from the start of the pull actually would be right down, right down here. So your pull is like roughly the size of this fucking thing. So, this isn't Bitcoin. If this was Bitcoin and it broke out, you would see these targets here. But it's roughly, maybe even I'm a little off. So your target of that bull flag here, if we went off of the pole, is 445, which is pretty insane, of course. And, is it possible? It is. But it really depends if we're just in a correction or if we are in a potential of a crash. That's what we have to kind of figure out. And then if we just went off of the size of this channel right here, then, we could be looking at roughly 331. So obviously we had a push out of here and everyone bought in thinking it was the breakout here, and it obviously wasn't, and it came crashing down, and you had a lot of selling right here. And you never really got that type of volume again, and then you got another big massive selling here. So, and then you got a big volume candle here when we actually had a wick there. So, it's kind of tough to go off of that actually, because you can see that this volume comes in every time right when we're getting that peak. So, this is just one that I want to keep on you guys' radar. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm in it now, okay? I'm in it. I think my average is roughly 220 to 221, something like that, I think, to be honest. But I basically have been buying it every time so far that it's been coming down here. This first time I had a buy order at 219 and it ended up hitting 222. So then I ended up buying it at 225. Then it came back down again, roughly this 223, 224. I bought it again. And then this last wick today came down to roughly 219. And I bought it again around 220. And then so far we haven't come back that low. So not too sure what's going to happen here when we get this little death cross here, or if we're going to continue to stair step down here. So it's just something to keep on the radar. We might be able to get this thing a lot cheaper. I am going to be keeping my stop loss, like I've said, right at probably 217. And, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. But it's hard to, with the market being the way it is, if this is another type of flag here, and you can see I've been kind of drawing these flags in, which it might be easier to see on the 1 hour. This is kind of where I'm at here. If this is another flag, what was the breakdown last time here? So the breakdown last time was right the size of this, right? Oh. Was a little bit bigger than that. So if that's the case, then maybe this one wouldn't be as big of a breakdown. And then we would just be looking at another move here if we did fall back down to this 221-ish. But keep your eyes on this 219. This one hit 219.24. So just keeping this on the radar, because it could be a very, very nice long-term play if you look into the company as well. But as of right now, with the stock market being as bearish as it is, it could end up maybe coming lower. Let me just do one. I think I already have done this before, because that was my original breakdown target was to this green line here, and which was 229, and we broke that original support there, and that was the Head and Shoulders there. So anyway, that's a long enough video. Hit the like button. Leave a comment below if you guys want me to look at any stocks that you guys are looking at purchasing, or if you guys are looking at trying to make any plays on. I would happily look into them, maybe run some charts, maybe run some fib lines and stuff for buying opportunities off certain areas. But yeah, that's DOCU.